Yeah, so hi team. So today we are going to see the demo of integrating the LaunchDarkly and Azure DevOps. So this is for the future flag based deployment flow. So with that we already know that so we can deploy the features to the production with confidently with low risk. So if you found that some if there is any issue, so we can roll back the changes. So we'll see what are all the integration steps that we have to do. So for example, we are going to create some for example, right, we have the LaunchDarkly website and another one is the Azure DevOps. So from the LaunchDarkly we have the future flag, the database, something like, for example, for all of our future flag, right, so it will be maintained there, and like for every environment and the status also, whether it is the maybe the true or false, so something like. And then so we are going to manage all the futures there, and also, right, we have to get the access token also we have to retrieve from there. So for example, right, we are going to access the launch directly from Azure DevOps. So we need to connect the launch directly from Azure DevOps. So we need some authentication, right? So there they were providing like some access token. So we are just getting that one, and then we are configuring in Azure DevOps, so that we have to get the access token from there. And another one is like, so the next one is like for example in Azure DevOps, right, so most of the times, so if it is something like maybe the Microsoft related projects, so they will provide inbuilt in support. So for example, maybe the mail configuration and all, right, we didn't provide anything like whenever the maybe the build is failed successful, right, so we are not provided any maybe the plugin or extension for the notification. So some of those things will be they will be having the built-in extensions and all. But for some other thing, right, so we have to maybe to integrate some specific scenario. So we have to see is there any support is there for, so at least we have to check whether the built-in is the extension is there or not. Maybe sometimes, right, the plugin itself they will charge us. So for example, right, in this scenario, so the launch directly is a separate tool. So to make it maybe the integrate, so we have to install the launch directly extension. Okay. And after that, the service connection setup, so we have seen, right, under the project settings or the maybe the organization settings, so we can configure the service connections like maybe the Bitbucket, GitLab, GitHub, right. So some kind of the service, the maybe the connections you can configure there. And during our pipeline, right, like a build and release pipeline, so you can just so select the particular services. Maybe we should not provide at the runtime, right, maybe at the build and the release pipeline we should not configure those maybe the username and password. So for that, maybe the Azure DevOps, they are providing service connection, so there we will be configuring the like the launch directly URL and then the access token. So we will be updating the values there. And during our maybe the release pipeline and build pipeline task, we can just select the particular service connections, so that it will inherit the URL and the values from the service connection. So that one also we'll see, we are going to see so how we are going to create the service connection. Okay. And after that, so I saw one the demo project. So maybe that is for the ASP.NET Core. And so even so we can create the demo project, and then we can just update the release pipeline and deploy the current code whatever it is there. And then they are giving some options for the maybe they are giving some other code for the new future. And so try to test from the Azure DevOps. Okay, so this is the thing we are going to see demo on this. So maybe Amos or anyone, so if you have any doubts, yeah, you can ask me now.
No, sir, fine.
Okay, so the
I
next.
have a question regarding the previous ones, right? Like, so on Friday, I was doing the blue green the demo what you showed on the like downloading that what is that the unlimited thing? So
Okay.
I was not able to run the pipeline. So when I ran the pipeline, it gave me some kind of a like a parallelism.
Okay.
Uh,
Maybe are you running
okay.
the two tasks parallelly, or maybe we are using the free trial, right? So we have to
Yeah.
run only one job. Maybe you can just check like maybe the parallelism means, right, so we can run only
Mm.
one job at a time. So if you are trying to run multiple job, maybe you may be running the two jobs parallelly. Maybe you have run some build pipeline, so that may be running in the background, and you are trying to run another one job also. So at the time, maybe the second job, right, it will be saying like it is on queued state, something like. Maybe did
Yeah.
you check that? Maybe in the background you are running any other build pipeline, and like maybe you are starting new, maybe build again.
Yeah, this is the exact error I'm seeing. No hosted parallelism has been purchased or granted. To request a free parallelism grant, please fill out the following form. I filled out the following form and it says like
Okay.
48 hours to 72 hours or something like that I saw
Oh,
on Friday.
okay, okay. I think we don't need
So,
parallelism and all. So maybe you are trying to run multiple jobs at the same time, but maybe you are going through the same the skill pipe, the tutorial only,
mm,
right? But I think
yeah,
that won't ask you any parallelism. Maybe what I am thinking, right? You may be
mm,
running two build pipeline or at a time. So that is the reason. Maybe we can. It may be giving some such error basically. Maybe yeah. Maybe
okay.
after completing this one, right? Maybe we'll see that one also.
Yeah, maybe after the class or like me, even like tomorrow
Yeah,
evening
yeah,
or sometime if you are having any time,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe let me know what time you will be available so I can share the screen and I can show you what I'm seeing.
Yeah, maybe that could be a very quick fix only, almost. Maybe if you are just
Okay.
following that one, so it won't take much time. Maybe after completing this one, right? So we will see that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure, sure. Okay,
Yeah,
hi. Fine.
yeah, yeah.
That's it.
So the next one, right? So for example, we have to create the project in LaunchDarkly, and then we have to get the access token. So that is the first thing, right? So I am logging into LaunchDarkly. So I have already signed up the free trial account. Maybe you can also try to log in with your Gmail or your email account. So they are providing some limited features for 14 days trial. So you can, so just to try with that. So if you are interested, and so here, right, we have to create the projects first. Okay, so under the account settings, right? So we have the projects, so we can create some new project here, like AZ400. Okay, so I'm just creating a new project, like AZ400, and I think we don't need to provide any tags and all. Maybe even we don't need to provide the SDKs, those things and all not needed for now. Okay, so and under that, so for example, right, so AZ400, so here by default, right, it is created the two environments, like the test and production. So for example, right, in your scenario, if you have maybe the UAT or QA environment, so you can just create a new environment like this, like QA. Okay, and then save environment. So for example, test production QA, right? So that for each environment, right, the SDK, the key will be differ. Okay. So for example, if you are maybe in your .NET Core or our development code, right? So you have to change the SDK, the particular key actually. So based on that only, it will get the information from the particular environment, whether the in this environment, whether the particular feature is on or off. So those kind of details it will get from the based on the SDK key only. So that we have to supply from the our application code. Okay, yeah, that also we will see that maybe in a moment. So for example, right, maybe for example, I'm just have created AZ400 team project. I'm just going to copy the this access token. Okay, for maybe yeah. So this one, right, we are whenever we are going to make a call or maybe the client library, right? So from that application code we are going to provide this one. Okay, so this is the, but this is not the access token, this is the key. So when we are doing maybe API call or something, right, at the time only we will be providing this one. Okay, but for now we have to get the access token. So for that we need to configure in our Azure DevOps. Okay, so for that one we have to go into authorization tab. Okay, so I'm just creating a new token. So this token, right, we will be configuring in the service connections. So whenever the Azure DevOps is trying to connect LaunchDarkly, so at the time it will use this particular token. Okay, so for example I'm just selecting Azure DevOps, but here for this one, right, so we have to provide the writer access. Okay, for example, if Azure DevOps is wants here to update something, right, for the changing the flag or something, so that is the right maybe the permission we need. Okay, so and after that I'm just saving the token. So currently, right, currently we got the API token here. I'm just copying it in my clipboard. Okay, so for example here we have yeah, so we have created the demo project and then we have got the access token also. The next thing is like we have to configure it in the Azure DevOps. Okay, so next one I'm going into Azure DevOps. So so almost, so you are clear, right? So currently we are just creating the projects, and for example if you want to have any environment you can just create here maybe as much of you want in your project. And after that maybe to connect maybe to integrate from my Azure DevOps, right, so I'm just creating the token here. Okay, so for example, right, maybe it may provide for example you want to access from your application also. Okay, for maybe the creating the tag or from the Python script, right, so you want to create the tag or something automatically. Okay, at the time you can create the token here. Okay, but mostly in this case we don't need that. Yeah, but maybe if you want to do any kind of automation from that LaunchDarkly, so you can just create the token here, and then you can just provide the, you can just call the appropriate the REST API endpoint. So the actions will be called here, like maybe the creating the flag, updating the status, or maybe the creating the environment, maybe whatever we are maybe doing here, right, so those things it may provide from the access token. But for the application deployment, right, so we don't need this one. Okay, so for example, right,
Mhm.
similar like Azure DevOps integration, I am just created the one yeah, so one access token, so that we are going to configure in our Azure DevOps. Okay, so the next step, right, so for example I'm just going to, yeah, so for example the next one is, so for example whenever maybe we are doing yeah, maybe the LaunchDarkly, right, so we know that there is no built-in support. So for that one what we have to do is like we have to see is there any plugin is available in marketplace. Okay, so I'm just going into browse marketplace, I'm just searching is there any marketplace related to LaunchDarkly. But otherwise, right, maybe when we are going through the LaunchDarkly website also, they will say like maybe what are all the steps we need to do. For example, integrate with Azure DevOps, Jenkins, Bamboo. So for example, to make the tool popular, right, so that they need to provide a plugin for all the maybe the CI tools, so then only, so most of them they will prefer to go with LaunchDarkly, right. So when you are seeing in the LaunchDarkly documentation, you will find maybe what are the steps we need to do. Okay, so for example the LaunchDarkly the extension, right, so the team only they will be created and then they will be maybe published in um, the marketplace here. So from here we are just downloading it, maybe similar like, right, maybe the Jira and Bamboo, so for that also they will be having the marketplace there. Okay, so I'm just this is the free maybe the plugin, but anyway, right, the plugin only the free, but anyway to get the tool, right, so that is the costlier one. So maybe even if you are having the plugin is free, but we cannot use that future because the uh, so because the launch directly the tool is cost the licensed one. Okay, so for example here I'm just choosing which organization I want to install. Okay, so for example when you are using the free trial, right, so you can install only up to 5 extensions only. So after that, right, maybe you have to go to the maybe the licensed version, but with your free trial you can just trial maybe the 5 extensions. So similar like the LaunchDarkly, right, maybe you maybe also wants to install some other the commit policy, the plugin or Datadog or any kind of the integration you are making it. Okay, so you will be having the maybe you can install up to 5 extensions alone. Okay, when you're using the free trial. Okay, so I'm just installing in the uh, yeah, microservices POC, but this is right, so this is the cloud one, so that's why here it is showing. So for example if you are having Azure DevOps server, right, because even the first session we have seen like the Azure DevOps is providing the two providing the CI CD pipeline in the two way. One is the Azure DevOps, maybe that is the cloud one, maybe the Azure DevOps server also they are providing, so that is we have to install in our on-premise environment something. Okay, so for example at this case, right, wherever you have installed the Azure DevOps server, so there you have to download and install maybe whatever the maybe the steps we have to follow. Okay, but since our maybe the organization is the Azure DevOps, the cloud one, so I'm just installing it here. So you got it right, Amos?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine.
So the next time just proceeding it to organization. So for example, yeah. So I'm in the microservices, right? So now I am going to create the service connections. Okay. So okay, I think maybe in the project level we have to configure. Okay, so before configuring the Azure DevOps connections, right, we can maybe create the demo project. Okay, so for example, yeah, maybe this is the link. I'm just following it. Maybe after the session, I will maybe provide you, so you can also maybe in the later time you can just revisit these ones. So here, right, I'm just going to create one the demo project. So even so here they are providing the LaunchDarkly template also. I think so all the CI/CD pipeline and then the ASP.NET Core. So everything they are providing it. So we just want to do some kind of coding change and release pipeline variables. So after that, yeah, we will be able to see the so demo in our action. Yeah, because our extension is installed in microservices POC, right? So that's why I'm installing. I'm creating the project in the microservices POC organization and providing the project name as LaunchDarkly. Okay. So the template, right? So since I am redirecting from this one, so automatically the LaunchDarkly template is filled actually. Okay, so that's why we don't need to choose this one because it's automatically selected. So I'm just clicking on create project. Okay, so it will take some time. Um,
The project is created, I think,
yeah,
successfully provisioned.
yeah. So I'm just going here. So here we have to create the service connections here. Okay, so we will see the maybe the source code structure later, but for now, right, I will just create the service connections. Okay, this is service hooks, so we have to create it in the service connections. So I'm just searching LaunchDarkly. So here, right, so whatever the token I have copied there, so that one we have to paste it. So this is the maybe the LaunchDarkly URL. So this is automatically coming, right? So I'm not provided anything, but the access token, right? So we have pulled from this place. So we have pulled from this place, right? So that one I am just pasting it here. Okay, maybe here I would say like the service connection name is LaunchDarkly. So here I am saying like grant access permission to all pipelines. So maybe whatever the pipeline we are creating under this project, right? So for all the projects, for all the pipelines, it will have access to the launch directly service connection details like URL and access token. Okay, so I'm just selecting this one. Okay, so this one is configured now. So the next one, right? So maybe the service connection is set up and then generate demo project also completed. So far now we are just going to maybe the Azure subscription and all we have to choose it, right? We are just going to update and then we will try to run the current application code, and after that we will create a new maybe some coding changes and then we'll see. So I'm just going to update some pipeline. Okay, maybe before that we'll see maybe what is the source code here. So under the environment, right? So they are having the ARM templates to create the Azure infrastructure. So this one also they are going to deploy in the Azure App Service. Okay, and here the script maybe they may be using it for some other reason, but I don't know. So here, right, the source code, so maybe here they are having the source code for web application and as well as the mobile also, like Android and iOS. So I think they may, I don't know which framework they are using, maybe the Xamarin, I guess. But yeah, so this is for the mobile application, but we are not going to test anything on the mobile. So we are just going to test something in the web application only. So here the ASP.NET core application. So we have the, so here they are using the Razor view, it will create the HTML and after that it will push it to the browser so that we are rendering the content and all. Okay, so not like any Angular or React front end. So this is the ASP.NET Core web application. Okay, so for the in the controller they will fetch the data and the controller will call the database and then it will fetch all those datas and all. And after that, yeah, here under the views, right, we will have the maybe the source the UI designing and all. So they will be having under the views folder, so all the UI related part, the HTML, the CSS, JavaScript. Okay, so those things and all it will be under the views folder. Okay, so far now we are just going to deploy it in the Azure environment. So I will, so I'm going to, yeah, so first we will build this one. So we'll see what are all the tasks they are currently running for just taken the build. Okay, so for this one, they are just restoring the dependencies. Here they are providing the project, the file path, and here they are just taking the build, and then the configuration they are saying it like the release build, and they are just running the unit test cases, and then they are publishing the release binaries to the artifact staging directory. Okay, and along with that, so for example not only the .NET build, right, so we along with that application build we have to stage the ARM templates, the script also for deploying the environment. Okay, so they are under the artifact staging directory they are just creating the environment, and whatever the files inside the maybe, so they are actually they are copying all those files, but maybe here, right, maybe we can just take the environment folder. So under the environment folder only we are just having the ARM templates everything, but currently here, right, they are just saying I think here saying the environment folder, right? Yeah, so whatever it is there in the environment folder it will copy. Okay, and the next one is so they are publishing it to the Azure pipelines, the drop artifact name. Okay, so inside the Azure pipelines, the drop, right? So we will be having the whatever we have staged in the published in the artifact staging directory, that is our application build and as well as our ARM templates. Okay, so I'm just clicking on Q to run the build. So it will take some time. So in the meantime, right, we will see what they have configured in the release folder. See, currently they are taking the in maybe the artifact input from the pipeline. So this is our pipeline. So once the build pipeline is completed, right, so the particular job will be the release pipeline will be kicked off. So for example, this is our build pipeline. At the end of the build pipeline, it will be pushed the artifact to the Azure pipelines, right? So that's what they are mentioning it here. And once this is once we receive the maybe the build, and after that these stages and all will be executed. So under this stage, right, so the deployment stage, maybe they have just naming it like stage 1, maybe we can naming it like maybe the dev or QA. So currently they are not mentioning the naming everything, so we will see what are the tasks they are having. Okay, so the first one is ARM AR Azure Resource Group deployment. Okay, so this is so this will take the ARM templates, and maybe the last time we have seen, right? So for deploying the ARM templates, we need the templates.json file and then the parameters.json file. And after that, yeah, which mode we are choosing, like incremental or maybe the complete mode, so whatever. So and along with that, so here, right, we have to provide the subscription, which what is our Azure subscription. Okay, so maybe for me, right, so I'm having the Azure Pass, maybe you also will have this one. So for example, this is the newly created project, right? So that I'm not creating any service connections there, so that I have to click on authorize here, so that it will automatic once upon the successful thing, right? So it will create the service connections under the project settings. Okay, so I will just click on authorize. So here the authentication is still it is running. So here you can see, right, configuring the Azure service connection. Okay, so this is completed, so that you can go to the project settings, and under the service connections you can see the Azure connections also, Azure Pass. So earlier it is not there, right? So even we have triggered there, so but automatically it is configuring the Azure service connections here. Okay, maybe, yeah, maybe in the next time, maybe wherever you need, you can just select the service connections alone. Okay, and then the next one is the LaunchDarkly rollout. So here, right, so we have already created the service connections for uh, uh, yeah, in for the LaunchDarkly, right? So we have to just create the we have to just choose this one. So if you don't have, right, you can just create new. So upon the successful authentication, it will be pushed to, maybe it will be added in the service connections. Okay, and then here the rollout and then the flag state, maybe whatever maybe the rollout percentage is 100% something, and then whatever the flag value is on, so those things and all, it will be automatically, it will change. For example, when we are deploying something, any new features we are deploying, right, so it will automatically change the flag state as on, and then the role percentage also, the 100% something, it will change that. So it will basically, it will automatically update in the future flag, so that maybe whenever your application is hitting, right, so that it will get like the particular flag status is maybe the already on, so that you will get the future also, it will be on. Okay, and then the next one is Azure App Service Deploy. Here I just want to choose service connections, and rest everything is the default one. Like so, for example, the site name, right? The site name and everything, it will be configured in the variable sections, so that it will be when the particular deployment is running, right? It will create the particular site, maybe the app service plan, and under that it will create the web app name and everything, and finally it will push the binaries from the particular zip file to the Azure web app. Okay, so for currently, right, so we are not adding any new feature. So currently, right, we will just disable the launch darkly, and then we will run this one. Okay, maybe here yeah, maybe this particular task alone, for now I'm just disabling it. So maybe after maybe adding some coding changes, right, and after that we will add at the time. Okay, so currently I so almost, so you are good with that, right?
So for the first round, it is not going to do anything with the launch darkly, and then
Yeah, so
after
far now,
that,
yeah, yeah,
for the
so
initial
far,
launch, right?
yeah, yeah. For example, right, I'm not created any tag in the launch darkly also, and even some of the things, the task and all, we have to link the particular work item to the future flag. Okay, so those things I'm not doing, right? So that's why maybe first we can deploy our current code, and after that we will make some coding changes also, and after that, yeah, we will try by try enabling the particular task.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just deploying it. So maybe you are saying, right, when you are running the blue green, so here only you are getting some error, right? Maybe during the queue sometime. So for example, currently, yeah, it is in progress. Yeah, maybe when it is running, right, if you are going to any another pipeline and you are trying to run, at the time it will say like maybe we have to purchase parallel job or something only, because at the time we can run any one pipeline only maybe.
Hey, sorry, I was on mute. I didn't realize I'm
Oh,
off
okay,
mute.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, I was getting a different error. Whenever I go into the pipeline
Hmm.
and when I click on it, and then if I try to run,
Hmm.
that's where like let me go back.
Okay, so you can just paste the error in chat.
Yeah, run pipeline.
Was-
So I'm running it now. It said queued, and then after that I got the error.
okay,
So
maybe
let me
you are
do a
trying.
screenshot.
Okay, yeah, maybe I will give a host permission now. Maybe for the deployment, right, it will take some time. Um,
How to share the
yeah,
screen.
yeah, yeah. So I will make you as presenter now.
That is my window. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah. So hosted.
Which Yeah, so this is the error I'm getting. Hosted parallelism has been purchased or granted. No hosted.
Okay. To remove a free parallelism, please fill out the okay. Hmm. Job. So at the seventh line, right, you can just expand the arrow thing. Mm, I think we are trying maximum concurrency 0. Okay, so this is the pipeline, right? So you can go to the, this is the build or release one.
There's a build here.
Okay, go there. Yeah, click
Is
on.
there anything
Yeah, yeah. You can edit.
here?
No, 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 no. In the parts unlimited, right? You can just click. Yeah, you can click on edit. Okay, so here agent pipelines. Okay, so you can click on maybe the variables. Okay, you can click on options. Click on options. Okay, so go to task now. Maybe otherwise you are exceeded.
Uh,
Yeah, maybe you are exceeded the free the usage limit like 30 hours.
I haven't used much. I don't know where I lost
Yeah,
30
yeah.
hours.
Then maybe that won't be the problem. So click on get resources, get sources.
Where is it? Here?
Yeah, so under the pipeline. Here also no problem. So click on run on agent phase one. This this
Where is it?
the under the get sources, right? The phase one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So here you can see is there any parallelism also? You're choosing none, right?
Yeah.
Uh, okay. But anyway, here also you are choosing as
Okay.
none only. So you can go to project settings,
How
like
do you go here?
in the yeah, and then there is some usage something like you can scroll down. Is there anything like usage? Yeah, you can go to
Setting.
yeah, go to settings. Mm, okay, I think here it won't be. Click on parallel jobs. The above settings. So here also nothing. The self-hosted, but Microsoft hosted. Okay. Uh, maybe you are creating the private project or the public one, Amos.
Private.
Okay, but still that is fine. Okay, you can go to organization settings now. Amos training. You can click on organization and go to organization settings. And you can find like a usage. Maybe in the above the security and you know.
Yes.
mm, I think these are all the bill you have run. Maybe it won't be like 30 minutes something. Uh,
These are all like something what we now run.
okay.
All like 11:22.
Mm. Okay, Amma. So you can go to settings or something. You can go to, I think somewhere we can see like how many, maybe the quota we have left something. Okay, maybe this is because we are creating the public, maybe you are created the private project, right? Uh, that's why they are not allowing you to use self, maybe the Microsoft hosted agent pipeline. Maybe 1 minute.
So free 1800 minutes.
Yeah, I think 30 hours something. Microsoft hosted, view parallel jobs, 5 basic users. Okay, up to 2 GB free. But
So how do you
maybe,
change it to
yeah,
public then?
yeah, no, no, no. I think the above, right? The pipelines for private projects only they are saying. So just above the 1800 minutes, right?
Hmm.
So you can see like pipelines for private projects only. It's not the concern now. I think for the private projects, they will provide the 1800 minutes free usage, like Microsoft
Okay.
hosted agent. So that's not the problem now.
Hmm.
Maybe otherwise you are exceeded the quota almost, but you are not used the much, right? Or
No, not that.
okay.
Use just less than 1 GB usage limit.
Yeah, that is for the artifact even, but
Yeah.
here they are talking about the parallel
So
jobs.
here also they should say, right, like free 1800 and then what I have used something.
But I think that they didn't. I think that one, right? We can see it in the usage only. You can go to usage. Mm, and even here also we don't have any the count and usage here, right? I think 1000. So one or 1000. I think 1 minute. 1 means 1 minute or I don't know what. 1000.
TSTUs.
Mm, yeah. Okay. Almost maybe that one we'll see. Maybe I think
Okay.
mostly it's not like the maybe the usage quota, but even in your pipeline also we are not seeing anything like you are configuring the parallel job. So that is everything is the maybe the direct on only, right? So there also it won't be a problem. Yeah, maybe there could be any other. Maybe I will search and then I will send it to you some any useful link almost. Okay, so you can just
Okay.
provide the yeah. So I will present now. Okay. So now you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. So for example, we have deployed the application. So I'm just logging into portal. So under the LaunchDarkly, there are two resources. One is app service plan and app service. So we have to, I think it will deploy the our application inside the app service. Okay, so here we
Mhm.
can get the application endpoint for our application. Yeah, so this is the application Amos. Okay, so what they are trying to say, like the member portal, right? So based on our future flag on or off, it will be enabled and disabled in the portal. Okay, so that is the experiment we are going to do. So for example, this is the maybe the application, but based on the maybe whenever maybe what we are going to do is like we are going to create one future flag for the particular member portal icon, and based on whether we are selecting it or maybe unchecking or checking it, so it will maybe it will enable and disable the member portal future accordingly. So that is the one we are going to see now. Okay, so
Okay.
you got it right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so one step backward. So what did we do? We did the build pipeline, right? So that published and then that called release pipeline also.
Yeah,
Or did we?
so for example, so this is the launch darkly, right?
Yeah,
So, for example, here, right,
from the pipelines.
we
Mhm.
have run the build pipeline, but whenever the
Yeah.
maybe here we will be setting some automation for the release pipeline. Okay. So for
Okay, so
example,
that is all in the YAML, or did
no, no.
we
So
do it?
here, right? So we have chosen the this one only, like visual designer. So here, when
Mm-hmm.
I'm clicking on edit, like here the trigger, right? Like creates a release every time a new build is available. So whenever the build is completed, it will automatically create the release. Like so, it won't wait for maybe we can run the release manually by just clicking on release. But whenever the build is completed, right, it will run the job automatically. So this is how they
Okay.
have scripted currently. They have configured the triggering options. Okay. So
So
for
in this test, we
yeah.
did only from the pipeline, right? Like we build from the pipeline, and it like internally it triggered the release pipeline also.
Yeah, yeah,
Is it right?
yeah, yeah. So, for example, this is the maybe internally it will trigger the release pipeline, but sometimes, right? Maybe if you want to run the release pipeline manually, at the time you have
Mm-hmm.
to choose the build version accordingly. Like, for example, we have
Okay.
run the build only once. Maybe if there is any multiple build version is available, you can choose the build accordingly, and then you can run the release for the deployment.
So maybe like in case of a rollback, if you want to do, then if you want to do a previous version,
Yeah, yeah,
that's what
correct.
we come and do
Yeah,
it
yeah,
here.
correct. So for example, right, maybe you can just assuming like one more dot two version also there. That is the
Right.
deployed version. But in the
Mm-hmm.
drop down, right, if any case, if you want to maybe roll back at the time, you have to choose the dot one, the previous build version, and then you have to click on create so that when it is running, right, so it will redeploy the old application build, the previous
Mm-hmm.
application build. Okay.
Okay.
But for the application build, right, so even we have seen in the project settings something like it will have the some retention days, like maybe the 7 days or 30 days, even that we can configure it. So once that days is gone, so our build also it will be expired, so we cannot choose that one. So maybe within the time frame we can choose the build for the deployment. So if it is exceeded the particular maybe the retention period, so we cannot choose that particular build for the deployment. So you got
So
it
will
right.
that previous build number, it is not even going to be showing up on the
Yeah,
drop down,
correct.
right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Okay, so only the recent or the maybe the only the last five builds, so something only we can configure in the project settings under the usage or something we have seen now, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think usage or maybe in the organization settings it will be there. So we have seen, right, maybe the 2 GB or the retention period and all we can configure in the organization settings.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Another question related to this one, right? Like so, say for example, if we deploy it today, something on the production, and then next 6 months we are not going to do any release or anything, right?
Okay.
After 6 months, we are doing a feature release, and by the time the retention period is like already passed, and we don't have the previous build. In that situation, how
Yeah.
do you do a backup of the
Yeah.
current one?
Yeah, for example, right, so they will be having the two option. One is the retention period. So for example, if you're having the 10 bills, right, so maybe the you just want to keep only the 5 bills. Okay. Even the
Mhm.
retention period is passed, the last five or two bills you will be having in your pipeline. Okay. But the rest five only it will be deleted. at least
Okay,
at
got it.
least five or two it will be keep, I think, based on our configuration, like here, right. Think yeah, that's what I.
So that is on the project level or the organization
Yeah,
level?
I think this is under the organization level.
Maybe under policies.
Policies, it won't be, I guess. This is something. Maybe repositories.
Under artifacts, yeah.
Yeah. So I think this one also not.
Okay.
Uh,
Maybe under the organization level. Right?
so we are in
Here,
organization level.
oh, okay, not on the project
Okay, I think here also not. And hunting permissions. Maybe under the settings, disable anonymous. Okay. Maybe project level settings. Yeah, here the retention there, but this is for the test case. Days to keeps the automated. Yeah, the release retention. Yeah, here only
Yeah,
Amos.
that's
Okay,
what
under
I'm
the
saying too.
pipelines, retention settings, maximum retention policy, days to retain release 365, minimum releases to keep 25. So here, right, I think the minimum releases to keep 25, default retention, days to retain release 30 days, minimum release to keep 3, retain build, permanently destroy releases, days to keep or release
Yeah.
after the deletion. So which means like
If
at
you
least
go to the settings, that's what I'm saying. If you go to the settings, then you can configure those values. Yeah, here
okay,
on two up on the left side.
okay, here, right. Okay, the
Yeah.
days to keep.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's a yeah.
yeah. So I think
So
here,
how
right?
many
I think
runs
at
it can
least,
take?
yeah, at least we will have the maybe even the retention period is passed. At least we will have the three minimum.
Mhm.
Okay. So the next, yeah. So here, right? So this one we have deployed. Okay. So now we are going to change a application code something. Okay. So for that, yeah. So now, right? So we are going to change our application code. So for example, we can go to source code and under that website, the web application, and then controller. Okay, so here, right, they have provided the steps like
Okay.
create a future flag in LaunchDarkly. So that one we can create now. Like for example, we will create like so we will create a like member portal. So this is our future. Okay, and then I'm just going to save the flag. Mm, okay. So for example, I have already created and then archived. So maybe that is the reason it is not allowing me to create with the same name. Maybe I will show like portal member. Maybe wherever in the code, right? So they have refer the member portal. I have to change it as portal member because I have already for some practice I have created in before. So that's
Yeah.
why it's not
Mhm.
allowing me to add again.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So we have created the flag and yeah, and after that, yeah, we have created the okay. And here, right, so we have to copy the corresponding the STK key. So this is the key we are going to so for example, account settings, the production one. Okay. So this one we already created, right? So when we are creating the project itself, we will get the STK key. So for every
Mhm.
environment, so based on, so with this key only, we have to pass the for example, right, so the launch darkly they have the some .NET library. So the .NET library it will expect the STK key. So maybe based on that it will go to the particular maybe the our project and then it will get the corresponding future flag status and all. Okay, so for example, I will just copy the key. Okay, so I will just copy the key and then paste it in the notepad. And okay, so this step also completed, and then the next one is like integrate LaunchDarkly in your web application. Okay, so here so what they are saying it like so in the project settings under the repository, so we have to enable the commit mention linking. Okay, so for example, whenever we are doing commit, right, so at the time it will expect for which work item we are uh, maybe we are creating the fix something. Okay, so maybe otherwise, right, so maybe the commit it won't maybe link with the particular work item, so that we don't know whether whether the code changes we have done, right, so that is for the this work item or not, so that thing we are not able to do. And also for example here, right, so here we have the board, and here automatically, right, so when we are creating the project, so automatically it is created the work item also. Okay, so when I'm clicking on the work item, so here you can see the launch darkly. So here we are so here it will automatically uh, so integrate with the launch darkly also, like the select account and then the production. And yeah, so here,
Sorry, Sir, I'm not able to follow this on why, like how it got created on the boards.
yeah, because right from when we are generating the demo project, right, so at the time
Hmm.
itself it will create the particular work item also. Okay, and what I am just trying to do is like for the launch darkly, right, so I'm just
Hmm.
we have created the one feature in the launch darkly website. Okay, so I'm just going to mark like so this is the flag that is mapped with the particular work item. So when I'm completing this user story, right, what for the user story or work item, right, which means like the corresponding the future flag is completed something. Okay,
Hmm. Okay.
so for example maybe here, right, so autumn when we are installing the launch darkly the extension, so it will do some modification in the work item level also. So that is why here so maybe here, right, because we are already connected the service connections also, we have created the service connections, right, so it will automatically use the service connections. And maybe it is selected the production one, and because currently, right, we have only the one feature. Okay, but maybe if I am maybe creating the multiple features, right, so for example here I'm just creating a.
But you said like already you created one more, right? Like member portal.
Yeah, but I have archived this one, so maybe in the backend, right, it is not allowing to create again the member portal, right? So that I have already
Hmm.
created and then deleted also. Even the A also that was created earlier, maybe I will say B. So you got it right. So I have already
Hmm.
created the member portal feature, and after the experiment, I have deleted this one. But still, they are it means like archival thing, right? So still they are keeping in their database, so that's they are not allowing us to add again.
Okay.
So you
The
got it
same
right.
name and key.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe they are just disabling the future or how they are doing, but with the same name, they are not allowing us to add. Okay. For
Yeah,
example,
it's permanently not deleted. It's somewhere in
yeah.
the archive.
Yeah, maybe here I would say like forget password or something. Okay, so the new one more feature also created here. So when I'm refreshing it, so it will show two flag. Okay, so you have to choose a corresponding one. So because the last time we have only one feature, right? So that's why by default it got selected. But maybe when we are having multiple, maybe the future we have created there means we have to choose the corresponding one. So we are just saying like the particular work item or user story is mapped with the corresponding future. So this is the future we
Okay.
have created there. Okay. So now the next step. So we have linked the, yeah, so the next thing, right? So we have to edit the application code in Visual Studio, but I don't have Visual Studio code in my maybe the laptop. But what we can do is like, instead of cloning in my local machine, we can directly edit from the vs uh, yeah, we can directly edit from the Azure DevOps, the web UI only. Okay. And here, right, the LaunchDarkly, this is the .NET client. So for example, maybe to check the flag status and all, right? So for the .NET application, what they are doing is like, the LaunchDarkly is providing some LaunchDarkly.client. So that client we have to add as a reference in our application, and after that, yeah, we have to create the client using the library, and for that we need to pass the SDK key. And maybe wherever we are maybe calling, right, at the time we have to provide the future name, and we will get whether the particular feature is on or off. So those details we will get it. Okay. So currently the library, right, so everything they have already done, so we don't need to do anything, but they are just saying like, this is the library we have to use in our .NET application, but in a sample code it is already there. Okay.
Mhm.
And then the next thing is, we have to update the code in home controller, account controller, and then the layout dot cs html file. Okay. So for example,
So right now the login one is disabled on your account,
the
right on the
la-
website, or the
the
member portal, not the login. So that is the feature we are trying to turn it on, right?
Yeah, the member portal only, but maybe what I'm thinking like, for example, still they are giving it like the, maybe the, they are toggling the true, but they are saying it like, it will disable or enable the member portal only. Like maybe, right, when we are clicking on it, so it will just redirect to the login portal. 1 minute, so that when you, okay, so wherever this one we are doing, um, home controller, when you request a feature you need to pass in a user. Okay. Then toggle value. Okay, so here, right, so based on the future, the particular member portal will be enable or disable. That's the one thing they are doing. But from the code, right, they are disabling the login only. Maybe I'm not sure why they are doing. Maybe the member portal, right, so that may be the partial, so for example, right, maybe from the logo perspective that is the member portal, but maybe in the behind the scene, right, that may be the one of the login portal only. So you got it, right? Maybe when you are clicking on
Mhm.
the member portal, it will open the login page only. So that's why they are just disabling the maybe the login page only. So that is changing the member portal, the view behavior. You got it, right?
So right now, yeah, if you go to the site, what is it happening? What the functionality right now you have?
So currently it is enabled by default. But still, right, but still we are not editing any of the code, like maybe enabling, disabling, or maybe
Mhm.
uh, the launch darkly related things, right? We are not at all adding anything, so here only we are going to update. So for example, right,
Okay.
we have to update the code in home controller, account controller, and layout html, and after that only we will be able to verify. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm trying to figure it out, like before and after. So right now, what the situation is, and then once you change this controller classes, then what we can expect on the
okay.
website.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe after that, right? After editing all of those, and
Mhm.
maybe when we are enabling the future flag, right? At the time it will be there. If you are disabling it, it shouldn't be there. So that is the expected behavior, and then we'll see maybe how it is. Okay. So currently, right, the home controller we have to update, like the code snippet. I'm just clicking on code snippet. So for example, Yeah, source and then website and then controller. This is for the home controller, right? I'm just clicking on edit and copy paste. That's it. Okay, I'm just clicking on commit and just
So
I'm
you need to change the flag name, right? Like because the flag name you changed it.
yeah, we can change it later. Yeah, maybe that one, maybe here we can change, or otherwise we can change later also. We'll see. Yeah, from the yeah, but anyway, right? We have to update the SDK key. So at the time we will update. Okay, and then the next one is account controller. Okay, and then this code, the layout HTML. Okay, line number 55. So instead of login, so we have to add with if condition.
Mhm.
So here under views, shared folder, and then layout.html. Yeah, here it's not like exactly the 55 line, but this line was there in the 57. 57. So I'm just changing it here. Okay. Okay. So now, yeah, in home controller and replace launch darkly key. So we have the launch darkly key, right? So that we have to update in both home controller and account controller, and along the way we will update the flag name also. So flag name they are having in a home controller 57th line, and
So this one is like the extension of like what we left last week, correct?
yeah.
The last class, yeah.
So here we have updated the SDK key, and also the member portal we have to update. Yeah, here they are having, right. So we have to update like portal hyphen member. Okay. Yeah, I think apart from that they don't have any reference. Okay. So and after that we need to update in the home controller as well. But in ideally, right, so we won't hard code the key, but as the examples they are saying, so we are just doing. But those things and all we have to come from any key vault or the variables. So from there only. Okay, only one place. Okay, and apart from that, now we have to update in the so other here, right? We have updated all the code reference wherever we have to update, right? So we have
Mhm.
to update in the source code part, and the next we need to change in the yeah. So here integrated launch directly 2051. So okay, and here we need to update in the release pipeline. So here they are just getting the access token and they are configuring in the service connection that we have already done. And apart from the member portal, so the linking. Okay, so this one also we have already done, right? So we have chosen the future flag for the particular work item. Okay, and then the release pipeline we have to update. So that is the one task. Okay, so now we are going to release pipeline. Okay, I'm just enabling the task now. Enable the selected task. Okay, but here the thing is like we have to add some variable. Maybe we have to update the variable value. Okay, so for example, so it needs to pull the work item and all. So that's why the LaunchDarkly will have access to our Azure DevOps also. So then only it will pull the work item and then the status and all. It can know that. So that is why we are going to update the uh, yeah, we are going to update the token, and yeah, only the access token we have to update. So for example, Azure DevOps token, right, we have to generate from the user settings and the personal access token. So I think the same we have created when we are configuring the self-hosted agent machine. Launch darkly, and then I'm just providing, but mostly, right, it needs to have access to work items alone. But maybe I don't know, is there any other reference also it will take? But we can just take give a full access, and then we will just copy it, and then we will update in here. Okay, so here launch darkly service POC. Yeah, so this is the project name. So our project name, and this is our organization name, and apart from that the token only. So you are good with this one, right, Amos? So for this task, right, we are going to provide these are all the variables, like this is the organization name, and this is the project name, and this is the token. So with this these three parameters only, it will get the corresponding work item, and then it can know the status and all. That is why, because right, if you have the three maybe the to fetch the particular work item, so you need to have the in which organization it is there and which project it is there. And for maybe access, we are just providing the access token. So I'm just clicking on select. So I'm just clicking on save. But here, right, maybe what we will do, like we will just make it like the particular task is like completed. Mm, okay, maybe we can save it like closed. So now going to pipelines.
And then on the release pipeline, you need to enable it, right? Like because we disable something there.
Yeah, yeah, that I have enabled, right?
Oh, maybe.
Because when I'm changing the variables at the time, I have enabled it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay,
I
so now
missed it.
okay. So for example, right, maybe it should show like what are all the when I'm clicking on the release, right? It should show okay, but what? But this is the old build, right? What we can do is like we
Mhm.
will create a new build with the latest, maybe the coding changes and all, right? So we will run the new build. Okay, and
It is going to build and it will publish also, right?
yeah. Mm, but they are having the launch darkly. Okay, maybe anyway we have directly edited in the master branch only, right? So we will just run the build for the master branch. So is there any the work item? Yeah, I think this work item is tagged. Yeah, this was closed now. So we'll see. I think we are just running the build, right? Even, but here, yeah, the master branch is taken. So in the master branch only, we are directly edited the code and all, right? So we can just
Mhm.
check it. Yeah. So 1 minute, almost. I want to join another meeting also. I will just set up parallelly.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is. I will choose the latest one so that it will have the .NET maybe 5.0 or something. So I think Amos, we have did some mistake. I think what we should do is like instead of maybe we are directly updated the code in master branch, right? I think we need
Mhm.
to update in the launch darkly. I think the launch darkly only they are having that recent maybe the .NET Core version, but that's why. So when we are running the build for the launch darkly, we don't have any issue. But when we are running the master branch, right? So they are having some issue. Okay, maybe if you have a time, maybe instead of we are updating the code in the master branch, right? The similar step we
Right.
can just do it in the launch darkly website. So we have to. So here, right, in the pipelines. So we have to updated the code under the LaunchDark. Uh,
Updated in the master instead
yeah,
of
yeah.
launch
No, no,
directly.
no, no. Yeah, instead of master, we have to update in the LaunchDarkly the particular code actually.
So did you directly update it on the master
Master.
instead of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
launch directly?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So instead of launch darkly, we have updated in master. But I think, yeah, master they are having some other ASP.NET Core, some other version. So that is why the build itself it is failing. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, tomorrow during the day I will try it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, Amos. Maybe.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I
Bye.
back to them. Thanks.